Let us all today witness to an epic road journey on bike across South Asia, five nations, 19,000 kilometers, 34 cities in 15 days. Sorry, 50 days. Sorry. Today's guest speaker is general surgeon by profession, working as an hospital owner at Ghatkopar West since 16 years. Humans are crazy and awesome when it comes to their passion. He has touched all 7 continents of the world, started biking 5 years ago. Harley Davidson was his first bike. Now he rides Rocket 3 from Trump 2400cc monster. He has ridden more than 90,000 kilometers, covered entire on a bike. His last ride was from Mumbai to Singapore. That's what he is going to talk about today. Let us all put our hand together to welcome Dr. Rajaram Sonagra. Doctor sir, please. He is an MS surgeon, and listen how his passion has motivated him and how it is going to help us in our business. So.
You must be feeling crazy that a doctor whose profession is a surgeon is riding on a bike for such a huge distance. It's okay that it just happens. I was not a biker 5 years back. I was a mere general surgeon doing a routine professional life from home to the hospital and back. One fine day I had a pain in my hip joint. I consulted another doctor. He said that you need to have some MRI done for your hip joints. I come to know that I have avascular necrosis of both femoral bones. I was shocked. What should I do? Both the hip joints were gone. They become black. There was no blood supply going to the hip joints. I asked what is next to be done to my orthopedic surgeon. He said, we need to do something for it, that you need to undergo one surgery, and if it helps, it's okay. If it doesn't help, you need to undergo another surgery that will be joint replacement for your hip joint. I said, okay, let's go for it. I got operated for my hip joint, been operated by a legion in Mumbai. I was being kept on a bed rest for 30 days. Person like me, you cannot rest for 1 hour. Been asked to sleep on a bed for 30 days consecutively for 6 weeks. Started working again on my crutches for almost 9 months. I had thinking that I should do something which I was not been able to do in my life, was a biking. I just opened a newspaper one fine day in the morning and saw an advertisement of a Harley Davidson bike in a newspaper. So thought I should go and just see the bike first. Before going, I needed some money. If I go and buy the bike, I asked the Harley Davidson shop that said the booking amount is 50,000 rupees. As you know that I really don't have any approach to my accounts, which has been handled by my wife. 50,000 was a big amount for a booking. It was not a 5,000, it was a 50,000. I think you can buy a bike with 50,000 rupees on road in Mumbai. But the booking amount was 50,000. I approached one of my friends that please give me 50,000 rupees, we'll do something about it later on. I went to the showroom, saw a bike. There were many, starting from 6 lakh onwards and reaches up to 50 lakhs. So I thought I could go initially with the bike which is just 6,50,000 rupees on road. So I could start my biking. And the reason for buying such a small bike with such a small fund was it was lightest amongst all the rest of the bikes. The weight of this bike was 300 kilograms. 300 and some 20 kilograms. That was the super low model which is available with the Harley Davidson. So I thought I should be able to ride this bike first before I upgrade my bike to the rest of the big bikes which are really good looking, and anybody who go and see those bikes will also opt for the same. So I bought this bike. I booked the bike, got the call from the dealer after 3 months that your bike is ready, please come and go. Please come and collect it. So again I have to go and approach my accounts department. So I have booked a bike and I need to go and buy it. So okay, what is the amount I need to pay? So I said 6,50,000. She suddenly got it from her side. 6,50,000, you can buy a car out of it. How can you go for a bike? Eventually everything happened. I started my biking on that bike. I rode that bike for 10,000-15,000 kilometers all over India. I went to Coorg, I went south, north, everywhere. Again upgraded my bike to Fat Boy, a big model which was much heavier than what it was. I rode that bike again around 50,000 kilometers on that bike. The maximum I rode on that bike was up to Chel, Mumbai to Chel in 5 days. Going and coming back. It was not one way, it was going and coming back in 5 days. Because I cannot get the vacations very often or very longer vacations in my busy life. So first day Mumbai to Udaipur, day 1. Day 2 Udaipur to Chandigarh. And from day 3 we started in the early morning, 7 o'clock, reached Chel in another 2 hours. We rested there. Very next day morning we thought we would be able to, the function was over, there was a hog ride. It was being called as Harley Owners Group ride. So we thought our program is over, what should we do here in Chel another day? We started at around 10 o'clock in the morning and we reached Jaipur. And very next day we were in Bombay, ready to work for next ride. So the things went on over and over. So after 40-50,000 kilometers of riding on Fat Boy, this Legend Rocket 3 which I saw in the Paris some time back when I went there. So I thought I should buy this bike. I jumped onto the conclusion that I should go and buy. I booked the bike, got it 2 years back and started my journey on this. The first ride which I did on this bike was to Bombay to Kanyakumari. So I went to Kanyakumari, came back. Just last year, 14th of November, I received one phone call from my friend. Doc, are you interested in riding with us to Singapore? I was sitting in my consulting room. I received a phone call from my friend. His name is Vivek Khanna. I said, yes, let's do it. बोला दोस्त को समझ रहा है क्या बोल रहा है तो yes, I understand. How many days? बोला at least 30 days, minimum 30 days if you want to do it one way. It would be around 55 to 60 days if you want to do it on a two-way ride. So I said I would be able to do it only one way because 30 days leave from my own owing hospital would be much of the leave. I cannot afford to have 60 days leave from the hospital. So I said yes, we'll manage it. Then it comes to the entire preparation, starting for the ride, the how many people you are going to accommodate. Then there were only 3 people were accommodated in the group. The reason for getting less number of people in long rides that there are many problems if there are many riders, many problems to many bikes. So if the group is smaller, you will have less number of problems. Because every bike has its own difficulties. Like some bike has got a small tank, some bikes has got a less fuel efficiency, some bike has some problem that some parts needs to be changed very often. So the group was being concise to 3 people, 3 bikes in the entire group. The name of the journey was being given Southeast Asian Ride, that is CODC. So myself, Vivek Khanna, and Samrat Kapoor. Vivek Khanna is the person who is into the furniture business, and Samrat Kapoor is a hotelier. He has his own restaurant in Andheri East. So all 3 of us joined to start with this journey. The plan was being scheduled where we are going to go, how many kilometers a day we are going to ride. Everything was being planned according to our needs, because if you are going for a longer ride wherein you are spending more than 20, 30, 40 days, you need to have a proper destinations allotted and spotted that if anything goes wrong, you should be able to manage it. The biggest problem for the bikes which are imported in India is you don't get the spares very easily. If you go for the Harley Davidson, if you go for the Triumph, there were very peculiar places in all over India, around 10-15 places where you can get your bike serviced or get repaired. Otherwise, you cannot get a single nut for screwing your bike for any of the smaller problems also. So we need to plan our journey in such a way that if anything goes wrong, we will be able to get some help from our dealers anywhere around. So the journey was planned from Bombay to Indore, Indore to Jhansi, Jhansi to Kushinagar, and then to Siliguri. From Siliguri we enter into the region of Far East, that was Guwahati, and then to Imphal. We needed a rest days in the entire journey, because when you go for such a long rides, you need to have one rest day every 4 days, because we ride 500 to 600 kilometers a day. And when you ride 600 kilometers a day in Indian terrains, Indian conditions, where you are more prone for the mishaps, you might get the bikers, because these bikes are very good looking bikes and the people have got attractions to look at them. The small bikers will come across you, they will try to take the pictures of you continuously. So they are the disturbances. You have to be very careful while you are riding these bikes. So you have to look at the distances. You can do 1000 kilometers. I did Mumbai to Bangalore in a day. We start. I'll show you. There are many pictures. So you can do 1000 kilometers in a day, that is not an issue, but you get tired because of the wind which is coming continuously on your body. So once you reach your destination, you should be ready to roll again very next day. So if you do 600 kilometers, it is good enough that you can ride for 8 to 10 hours a day, have breaks in between every 2 hours. There will be some pit stops, there will be some chai stop, there will be some breakfast, lunch. These kind of stops you take, and you continuously roll on, so that by the evening, before it sunsets, if you are reaching your destination, that has been considered as a good riding habit also. It is better to start riding early in the morning. So the preparation started day one. So these are the basic requirement. One single bike for yourself is needed for these kind of rides. Understanding the meds, very important thing. You cannot ride with a person whom you don't know. That person should have a good temperament. You should be knowing that person, that if anything goes wrong, this person should be able to help you out during the entire journey. Because over the period of 3, 4, 5 days, everything is okay. If you are riding, if you are driving, if you are traveling with anybody anywhere in the world. But the thing goes wrong after 5, 7 days. Then people loses their temperament. There are small fights, small things which goes wrong, and there are big fight which happens, and then you cannot get along with those people, and it becomes a mess in the entire trip. Even if you go to Leh Ladakh from here, you will see many people fighting on the street, though the bikers. So you need to have a people whom you know very well. So you have to select those people. So we were only 3. We knew each other. We didn't fight in the entire trip. Maybe a small fight for some few minutes, but that's it. But in the rest of the journey, what I've seen, many of my friends rode to Leh Ladakh in the last week. They had a fighting from Bombay till they reached Leh, and every to Leh on different dates at different destinations. So the basic thing you need to have when you are riding, you need to know the person very well, that if anything goes wrong, this person is going to help you at any given time. Then it is a tasting of your endurance. If you have that endurance that you will be able to do it, then only you go for these kind of rides. Because by listening to these kind of talks which I'm telling you right now, anybody feel I should go and do this ride, I should go and do that ride. But for doing this ride, you need a lot of temperament, patience, and your willpower. The courage, passion for riding a bike, and well-organized trip. These are the basic things. Planning for the ride, again the itinerary, accommodation route, ride coordinator, sponsorship, social media campaigning. These are the basic things when you are going for any of the rides, for a long ride, when you need a fundings. So we had asked for one person who was helping us for doing this social media networking and everything. He was being paid for that. We got some sponsorship during the entire trip also. The sponsorship is basically from the biker companies. So any spares and petrochemicals you can always think of in your own terms. He was a person who was helping us for booking the hotels. Very important. You are riding Baljit Singh. Now this guy was being paid from our pocket. We paid our entire money. The thing goes very smooth that somebody is booking for you from Bombay, sitting in Bombay on booking.com, hotel.com or any of the sites. When you are going to reach to Indore, we didn't book any of the hotels beforehand, because if a bike get any damage en route, if anything goes wrong, your entire trip will get spoiled. So the booking was being performed in the afternoon wherever we reached in the entire trip, and the Baljit was a person who was looking after the entire thing. So he was being given all rights to book the 2 rooms through the entire journey. So he was a person who was being taken care of for our sponsorship, for our hotel bookings and everything. The safety, basic safety needed for our ridings, that we don't ride without basic safety gears like good helmets, the protective jackets, protective pants, riding boots, gloves, protecting guard for the bike itself also. If you have fall, the bike should be able to help you out. They should not get any injuries. We may come across the night riding at times. You cannot afford that you will be able to reach that destination every time on time. There will be some mishappening. You got stuck in the traffic or something. So you need to have some extra lights on your bike when you go for a longer rides. And comfortable accessories, that you should be able to save your butts. You should have some good cushions on your seats, because the normal seats cannot give you that cushioning for riding for 10 to 10 hours a day for almost 30 days. So you need to have proper cushioning on your seat while starting your rides. These are the big.
Cushioning helps.
Yes, there are many different type of cushioning are available in the market. One is the air cushioning, that is called AirHawk. There are some silicone seats which are been available. So if you just put it on a seats, then it helps you for sitting on that bike for a longer period. Otherwise, you cannot sit on a bike, you get a butt sore also. This is the one of the riding gear which I have taken the picture. Again, you need to learn your bike first, because you are going for a long ride. You need to know what are the basic things which you are, like repairing the punctures, replacing the brake pads, changing the oil, coolant, changing the tires. We did all this learning at our showroom. We took entire day at our Triumph showroom, wherein we were being taught how to change these brake pads, cooling, the tires and everything. So after this training, we planned our journey, and this is our route map for India up to the Moreh border. That was after the Imphal. The journey for this entire Indian terrain was 3,500 kilometers from Mumbai, which we did in 7 days. So day 1 was Mumbai to Indore. This was our first meeting which we started. This is just after the Indore. We stopped and had pictures. So Mumbai to Indore was 550 kilometers day 1. We went there, stayed in the hotel. From Indore we moved on to Bhopal and Sanchi. We halted for some time. This is the Sanchi Stupa. Again en route, taking some pictures, candid pictures, reaching up to Jhansi. After Jhansi we reached up to Kushinagar. Day 3 was a Kushinagar. This is the place where we stayed in some hotel, and this is the sleeping Buddha statue, the Samadhi of Gautam Buddha. So we took the pictures here. Again, this is a stupa. When you are riding for such a long distance, you are bound to get some problem. My bike had a problem at Siliguri. The air filter was clogged. Now, as it was clogged, one of my friend was being called technician. His name is Murli. He came there. He opened the entire bike. He cleaned the air fuel filter, everything, and it was being restored to the normal. Again, there was some event, Begani Shadi mein Abdullah Diwana. One of our son was getting married. Friend's friend, whose son was getting married, and we will be called for the marriage ceremony. बोले चलो जाते हैं. So because of this biking community, you tend to get a biking brotherhood, and many friends you will get. In a span of last 5 years, I must be having more than 2,500 friends. If you consider 500 friends a year, me on a Facebook, and you just give a shout anywhere in the city, any of the city wherein the people doesn't know you. I'll tell you later on also what are the things which went right with us when we stuck with the problems. So just give single shout and the biker family comes and helps you out left, right and center. There will be absolutely no problem. So this is en route from Siliguri to Kaziranga. While riding the entire Kaziranga, my accelerator cable broke down. Again the same thing, the spares are not available in India. And your accelerator, they have got running cable for pulling and pushing it back. So accelerating cable was gone. So I would have to ride the bike with my gears only, without the accelerator cable. So first, second and third up to the speed of 20 kilometers an hour, and some herd of elephants going, the wild elephants going in front of me, and I was riding at the speed of 20, can't help. So I was riding with this bike, and it was been fixed with the Hamara Bajaj, the bike called Chetak. The cable I received from the small place in Kaziranga, the technician came and he fixed the bike with that cable, and my bike was ready to roll again. So this is en route from Imphal to Moreh border. We got a very good experience throughout the entire terrain. So there are only two places where we got a bad roads. You have seen my bike. This bike is, the curb weight of this bike is 380 kilograms. After that, there is a luggage on the back. There are some accessories. There is luggage on the sides also. And then I'm sitting on it. So the weight of the bike is more than 560 or 600 kilograms. And when you are riding on a good road, absolutely no problem. But when you are riding with the load on it, with the bad roads, it is difficult. Many of my friends who are riding heavy bikes, still they are not been able to ride this bike. Anybody, if I offer this bike to anybody, even I didn't bought this bike today, otherwise I would have given a chance to any one of you to ride this bike. It is difficult. You need to have a proper fitness to ride this bike. It's a monster. It has got an engine of 2400 cc. And the pickup of this bike is so tremendous that you can reach 200 in around 4.5 seconds. So you have to be very careful while you are riding on this bike. In the first gear you can reach up to 60. And second and third you are on the, it is being called as a rocket only because of that reason. Because this 2400 cc, the Civic engine is being put it on this bike. You are sitting on the engine of this bike which heats up so fast. You need to be careful for the thighs, inner thighs, it get burns. So if you don't have a proper wears, if you are not wearing a thermal pants or something like that, you get a really bad burns on your thighs. So this bike I was riding from Guwahati onwards, from Kaziranga to Dimapur, and Dimapur to Imphal was a bad road. There were no roads. There was different passes through which I was passing through. My friends were worried whether I will be able to do it, because a single fall and my journey was over. Because I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 fractures because of the weight of the bike itself. So it was a patch of 120 kilometers wherein I rode throughout the day to reach Imphal. So that was one bad patch, and second patch was there in the Myanmar. That was from Kale to Mandalay. The patch of 240 kilometers wherein there are passes, difficult passes. We'll go through that later on. So this was the journey which we reached somewhere in Moreh. He's a colonel. He was a Major Kaushik. We met across he was also a biker, had a good time with him, had a cup of tea with him. So we reached the Moreh border, the most important part of the now border crossing, because everybody knows the biking, but how to cross the country? It's very difficult to cross the Indian continent. The reason for it is that the Indian mentality. Anybody will buy the bike and go and sell it out across the border and come back. Because it is cheaper in India previously. Now it has totally changed. The bikes which we are buying in India are much expensive as compared to what you get it in the rest of the countries like Singapore or Europe, anywhere. So bike which I bought it in here in India was 24 lakhs. You could easily buy it in UK at around 12 lakh rupees. So there is a difference of more than 50%. So then one thing which has come up in recent or for a very long period of time, that is called Carnet. Carnet is a permission from the government of India to your bike, just like a visa for you when you go abroad. So this Carnet paper is an important paper when you have to approach the Automobile Association of India. There are 4 offices in India. One is in Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai and Kolkata. So we approached the WAAI in Churchgate. You need to pay 200% of your bike's value. 200%. That means ideally 300%. You have already paid 100% to your dealer. So 24 into 2, that is 48 lakhs you have to pay deposit here, which is refundable. So you have to pay 48 lakh rupees for your bike. If you are going with the 4 lakh bike, you have to pay here around 8 lakh rupees as a deposit if you want to go there. Once you come back with all due stamping of your papers and everything, they will refund your money. So that is why this craze is not being grown up in so many years. Now the thing has gone in a better way. Now they are charging a fixed amount of 75,000 rupees per bike and 1,50,000 rupees for a 4-wheeler. So anybody wants to go now, it is easy for all of you. So these are the basic requirements: passports, Myanmar visa while you are crossing the border, Carnet for your bike. Another big thing which you need to have is a convoy. Myanmar is a military country where you cannot travel only with a visa. You can travel by air, very no problem. But if you are traveling on road, you get a different visa. That is visa on road. So you will be able to cross the border only after that visa. If you have that visa on road, you cannot fly back. You have to come back by road. Otherwise, if you have any mishappening in the Myanmar and you have a visa of traveling on a road, you have to apply for another visa, then you can fly back. So then there are small hiccups, there are small problems. So we were mentally prepared because we were reading through it how to go to Myanmar and how to cross the Myanmar, because this is the biggest problem in the entire trip. Once you cross Myanmar, then everything is easy. There are some rules and regulations, but this is the biggest problem you have. So you need to have a convoy, and you can get a convoy only with the Myanmar Embassy Delhi. So you have to apply for it. Once you apply, they will be giving you a convoy of 4 people. There will be one 4-wheel vehicle. There will be one guide with it, one driver, one security person, and one person from the Ministry of Tourism of Myanmar. So 4 people are there in one car, and they are convoying you through the entire trip from border to border while you are entering into the Myanmar till the time you reach to the exit point of Myanmar wherein you are going into the Thailand. So this convoy is the biggest issue. So you have to, when you are going abroad with this trip, you need to have this convoy applied properly 1 month in advance, because they take 1 month to get this convoy. The convoy is not been given completely by the government of Myanmar, but it is been organized by the local guides there, and the permission is given by the embassy. So again, you need a bike insurance starting from India. Whichever country you go, you will need an insurance, third-party insurance in that country. So once you enter in Myanmar, you will need an insurance of Myanmar. If you enter in Thailand, again insurance of Thailand, and so on and so forth. Very important, you need to have your all papers ready. RC book, your international driving license, and RC book. These are the basic insurance papers, everything is ready. So once you are prepared with your papers, this is the border This is the Indian part of the border. This is the Myanmar part of the border. It's called Tamu. The same place there is a small bridge, hardly 15 meters long. Once you cross that small river, you are into Myanmar. You see hundreds of paramilitary or military forces all along the road while from Imphal, going from Imphal to Moreh. But not even a single person once you cross the border. There is no military. It's absolutely open. I have not seen a single police in Myanmar anywhere. No military, no guns, because people had given us some information that it is a military ruled country and you will have many problems. There are Naxalites, people are moving around with the guns, the bombs and everything. Nothing sort of, any sort of this sort of things which we see on the route in the entire Myanmar. So it's a very safe country, very peace loving country, beautiful country with so many places to hang on and see. So this is one of the wedding which we see. This is the cancer line through which we passed. From day one we started from Tamu, we reached to Kale. This is the cancer line we crossed at. This is the place again en route. The place where we reached destination was the Kale. First day we reached in the Myanmar was Kale. The small town, the small hotel we could stay. There is a story. We reached there at around 7 o'clock. We were tired. So after reaching there, we have to take some shower and then just open up your bottle, have 2 pegs, have good dinners, whatever amount you can eat and sleep. So while we were having some pegs, the drinks, we saw some 3-4 bikes. We just saw who are there. Just peeped to our window, saw some other bikes. So chalo jaake dekhte kaun hai. So I thought some Indian guys are there and didn't tell us. They didn't inform anybody that they are coming to Myanmar. But when we reached there, we came to know that there's some Singapore riders who are the basically Tamilians from Indian. They were riding from Singapore to Myanmar, up to the Myanmar, because they did not have an Indian visa. So we just met across and had some discussions. After discussion, they were just planning to go out for dinner. So when we asked where are they going, they're saying they're going for a dinner. Well, we already had our dinner while we were having some drinks. Why don't you eat our own dinner which is being served over there? So it was a very small town and we offered our dinner to them because nothing is available outside. And our dinner was being served because we were the person who had been organized everything. Our tour guide had operator had organized everything. So we gave our dinner to them. They become friends first. And we dispersed from that day. So they gave us numbers. But if you come to Singapore, any help needed, we are ready to help you out. We dispersed. From there, we reached Mandalay. This is the place, the Mandalay. You must be knowing Lokmanya Tilak. He was being imprisoned over there for some years. This is the place, this is a bridge, wooden bridge which is almost 250 years old, made of Burma teak. Burma teak is a easily available wood. So they made a bridge crossing small lake. So it's called, this is the pagoda. The commonest place you see in Myanmar was the pagodas. They are basically 95% people belongs to Buddhism. So they have pagodas, very peace-loving people. They just go, if you go and see these pagodas, they're just sitting, relaxing there. There is no chaos in the pagodas, no offerings, no much of the flowers, no noise in the temple. Very peace-loving countries. You go and you can relax to these places. We were just having the lunch at the Mandalay. Now these are the few tourist destinations which we were. There's a palace. The palace as Mandalay and some places of Buddhist pagodas where the monk stays. This is the place where we moved from Mandalay to the Old Bagan. So Old Bagan is a place wherein there were 10,000 pagodas were been built by the ancient people who were staying there. So any person who was staying there had made one pagoda. So in that way, over the period of years together, they made around 10,000 pagodas, out of which 8,000 got destroyed because of the weather in so many years together. So around 2,000 pagodas are still there, and they are made by the common people. They are not being made by the kings or anybody else. So you can see these beautiful places over there. This is the only last pagoda which was available up to March 2016, wherein you can climb up to the pagoda, on the pagoda top. But now it is being closed by the government of Myanmar. This is on one of the top of the pagoda. You can see the rest of the pagoda. These are small pictures. If you enlarge it, it is beautiful. This is after Bagan, old Bagan. We reached to Naypyidaw. Naypyidaw. I'm just telling you the brief about every small town, because these are the places you will never hear later on. Also, nobody Googles out what is there in Myanmar. Naypyidaw is the capital of Myanmar, which has been recently made in 2012. Previously it was Yangon, and before that it was Mandalay. So every few years later on, there was some military ruler has been changed, and he made his own capital over there. So some years back, when it was 1940s, the capital was Mandalay. Later on, it became Yangon. Now Rangoon. Now it has been called as Yangon. And then it's a Naypyidaw. Naypyidaw is the city which started making 2005 and they completed in 2012. So it's been called as Ghost City because thousands of homes have been built in this town, but very few people are staying over there because people have not liked this place somehow. They have got 4x4 lane all over the city, 4x4 lane with all basic amenities and everything, but people have not shifted to the Naypyidaw. It is been called as the governing capital of Myanmar rather than a people's capital. And there is a place, what we see here is a Parliament of Myanmar. This Parliament has got 1,500 rooms. I don't know why they have made 1,500 rooms in a Parliament. They have a capacity of around 500 people over there. That means their members. They have got 1,500 rooms inside the capital. And this road is 10 by 10 without a divider. So the stretch of 5 kilometers road along the Parliament of Myanmar, wherein 747 can land. They have made it in such a way that in emergency they can have this issue sorted out. Now coming from Naypyidaw to the next destination was Yangon. You will wonder that this is the only city in the world wherein the bikes are not allowed inside the city. When we were the bikers, we reached there. But the things were organized in a better way. Outside the city, almost 10 kilometers away from the city, there was a small police station. So we have to park our bike over there. Our tour operator took us in a small van and took us into the city. We stayed for 2 nights over there and then started next journey. So while staying there, a mishappening again. This guy, he's Samrat Kapoor and his wife. They were with us and he lost his entire bunch of passport, card net and everything at this place. So his journey was technically over. If you lose your carnet, if you lose your passport and all papers which is there in a bunch, the journey is over. So somehow we could fight it out and you can see the aftermath. So this is the Shwedagon Pagoda. This is a golden pagoda. Around 70,000 kilograms of gold is being put on this pagoda. 70,000 kilograms of gold, sheer gold. Plate is completely plated with the gold. These people love the gold. So if you go to see in the Buddha statue over there, everybody has a small silver foil which is being made of gold. They stick it to the Buddha statue and they'll come out. So that is the only thing they apply or they present to the god. Nothing more than that. There is no garbage I could see of flowers, everything. Even if there are some flowers, there is some small rack is there. You just put it there. Though the monument is there, they'll put all the flowers and florists, everything here. And they'll go to the temple. So there is nothing, no garbage, no flowers, nothing inside the pagoda. The nice thing to see. This is the Yangon city. This is one good part which we went through. Bahadur Shah Zafar. There's a tomb over there. He died over there in 1887. He was the last emperor of India. In 1857, when there was a Indian freedom fight started, he was been expelled. He was been taken care. He was been took over by the British Army, and he was been put in exile at Yangon throughout his life. till he died over there. So we could visit his tomb over there. his last photograph. And this is a visitor's book wherein we could see Manmohan Singh had visited that place. So his writings. This is again a Shwedagon Pagoda, and there is the Second World War memorial over there at Naypyidaw. The second part of the journey that we are crossing the Myanmar now. The crossing the Myanmar is never been a problem because whatever convoy, carne problem has been over now. So once you reach this part of the Thailand, immediately you will feel that you are at home in India. You come back from left hand drive to right hand drive again. Because from India we are on the right hand drive part of the road. That means you are riding on the left side of the road. In Myanmar you have to drive on the right side of the road. So once you enter Thailand, you again come to the same civilization which we are staying in right now. Same type of biking. Anybody can come in between you. So you have to be very careful again. One good thing about the Myanmar people are they are very peace loving. Nobody will come in your way. They will ride in their own lane. They will never honk. Even the bikers, if they are in your way, you just give a small ping to them, they will immediately roll back. Even with the four-wheeler also. If there is a big truck which is going in front of you, you give him a light or give him a small horn, those people will give way to pass on. So this part of, this type of courtesy is not available in India. You have to honk 100 times, then probably you might get the side. Otherwise, you have to just overtake from the left or left from the right side. So in Myanmar, we never had this problem. The poorest people which we could see is the Myanmar country. It's really poor, but I have not seen a single quarrel. There is no road rage, there is no fighting. They are very peace-loving country. If anybody get a chance, please do visit the Myanmar. Rest of the world, you must have been seen Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore. So I think tourist destination too for our Indians. But if any time you get a chance, please do visit Myanmar. It's a very beautiful country. Now, by car insurance, accessories, and everything which we done, we enter into Meso. It's a little bit of paperwork because of the problem of language barrier. The Thai people doesn't understand English, and we don't speak Hindi over there. Even they are not going to understand that part. So there is some sign language. You have to tell that we are coming from this place to that place, and then it takes around 2 hours to cross the border. It is a headache, but still again you are on a bike, you are tired, but still you have to manage it. There is no way out. So this is the way from Meso. Next day we start from Meso to Bangkok, around 500 kilometers, and we reached here. My wife joined me over there for the rest of the ride. So we were in Bangkok for 3 nights, move around. We had a shopping and everything. So she joined me from the day one, and the day one we did from Bangkok to Hatay, 894 kilometers in a day on a bike. Because the plan was little bit 600 kilometers, but the distance the same next day you have to carry again, you have to do 500 kilometers. So we pulled it to Hatay, that was 894 kilometers. So entire ride she did was 1800 kilometers. The half the ride was over in the day one. She was with me, 600 kilograms of bike with me, and another 60-80 kilograms added to it, and I was riding the bike. The roads are good, absolutely no problem once you come to Thailand. The crossing the border again is no problem at Malaysia also. Once you reach the Thailand border of Malaysia, you have some basic requirements over there. The people are very helpful. Once you pass the border, immediately across the border you get the insurance. Malaysia part, the convoy was taken care of, the insurance and everything. But at the Malaysian border, you get the insurance. There is a small tapri, you just give a papers, they will immediately issue the third party insurance, hardly cost you around 600-800 rupees. They will give you another permit. Your international driving permit is not valid in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, anywhere. You just have got that feeling that you have got a license, driving license, and you will be able to ride. No, sorry, it is not possible. You have to go for their own permit. It is again a paperwork. Nobody tests you whether you know riding a bike or not, but again it's a paperwork. So these are the basic paperwork. Again, driving permit, insurance, the carne, visa and passport. Once that is been done, you are ready to go into the Malaysia. The Malaysia again is a beautiful country. You can ride at the speed of 140 kilometers an hour on the highways. There is the official speed limit, so there is no problem. You can ride at 140 also if you have that guts. So I was riding only at the maximum speed I could achieve with my wife on that road was 180 kilometers an hour, and without any problems. So this is the Penang Hill. This is a local food, hawker's food. This is a hawker food in Penang. You can easily get a very good and very cheap food in Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, everywhere. So you can, while you are riding, you are doing your evenings very beautiful by having good different type of foods. Very important thing I just forgot to tell you that if you are a vegetarian, you are in a problem. You are in a problem. Because these countries doesn't believe in vegetarian foods. Everything is non-vegetarian. So even they cook the vegetarian food in the fish oil. So you will have a particular taste or a stink in your nose when you are eating anything. So when you are going for these kind of rides or drives, I would preferably say that you should be able to, you start eating everything. Or you have to carry your own thepla, khakara and everything. We lost, even after we were a non-vegetarian or we could eat anything, I lost around 5 to 6 kilograms of weight in 30 days. The food is a big issue. You should be able to eat and digest everything. So these are the people, my companions entering into the Malaysia's Kuala Lumpur. We visited the Sepang, is a motor track for biking and all motor events. So visited this place. The biggest, we had 3 bikes. One person joined us only for the Myanmar part. So one person just to evade or divide our funding for the Myanmar, because Myanmar, when you are asking for the convoy, they have X amount of amount which you have to pay to the Myanmar embassy. That means around, if you ask for $10,000 for a convoy, it will be sharing by 4 people, then it will be 2,500. If you're 10 people, then you might have to spend only 1,000. So we took.
My next question was for the convoy thing. How much have you to pay?
For my one-way journey, I paid $2,500 only for one person per person.
So
Yes.
4 of them.
But this is unofficial value what I told you, because we took some agency into our journey to organize this trip for Myanmar. If you do it on your own, it is much cheaper. That means you would easily save around half of it while you're crossing the Myanmar. So we'll learn it later on. So basically, if you want to go, if you want some information, I have some contacts, I can give it to you, and I think you would be able to do it with $1,000, which is much cheaper.
But that's mandatory.
Yeah.
Convoy is mandatory.
Yes, convoy is mandatory. Recently, 5 girls have visited, these 4 girls have visited Myanmar and Singapore. The biking queens. So they had the same problem. I was telling them you have to have permit, but the organizer didn't listen to me. So they have to stay back at Imphal for 4 nights. Till the time they got their permit. So once you get the permit, then only you can enter into the Myanmar and then you can cross. So that was the issue. The biggest problem was the entering into the Singapore. The biggest. The problem for entering into the Singapore, that once you reach to Singapore border, cross Malaysian border, come at the Singapore border, you cannot go into the Singapore on your bike. The reason the reason is you should have your own insurance. Your carnet should be stamped, and you should have your rest of the papers scrutinized by the Automobile Association of Singapore, which is there 20 kilometers inside. So at the border, nothing is available. You have to go inside, come back, do your paperwork, come back, and then you can go inside. So we called up at Johor Bahru. The border of Malaysia is Johor Bahru. We stayed there, and we called upon all those 4-5 guys who met us at Kale in Myanmar. So we needed your help. These guys came at night, met us, had a chat with us, went back at night 1 o'clock, came back at around 8 o'clock in the morning, took us on 3 bikes. Three guys sat on the 3 bikes, took us to AI office. We had our paperwork, everything done. They came back, left us at Johor Bahru. Again, the entire convoy entered into the Singapore. This entire crossing the Singapore border took us 12 hours just for stamping our passport. That's it. Because otherwise, our journey of 8,000 kilometers from Mumbai to Singapore was over. Only for completing another 30-40 kilometers, we need 12 hours. Only the paperwork, because it was needed and we have to stamp the paper. So this was the entire journey. You need all this Carnic, and there's something called Autopass and ERP. There is some electronic regulation permit zone in Singapore. You cannot take your bike anywhere in the city or any of the vehicle. You need to have that machine with you while you are entering into that zone. So once you enter into that zone, that machine will deduct your $2 per entry. So if you just bypass that event of $2, you'll be fined $50 per entry. So these are some problems which we faced, and our journey got over. We completed my journey was one way out of 19,000, almost 8,000 kilometers I completed in 30 days. Reached Singapore and flew back to Bombay.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you. This is the entry into Singapore photographs. These are the friends who help us, the party with them. The ending of our story, we are flying back, me and my wife, to Mumbai. And this is the bike which reached to Bombay by shipping, reaching home. Thank you.
Wow. Great. Location?
No, you have petrol pumps available just like in India. You can get the petrol pumps very easily. So there is no problem. And much cheaper than India. So entire trip is not very expensive as compared to your expectations. To both of us, it wouldn't have costed more than 5 or 6 lakh rupees for a month, including our stay, including our food, and all sightseeing. Everything was been completed within 5 to 6 lakhs. So next of my journey is I'm going to London via Trans-Siberian. I'll be going from Tibet, Nepal, Tibet, crossing entire China to Vladivostok. From there I'll travel to St. Petersburg, the entire Russia. From there I'll go into Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, France and London. So that trip is being on the road around 25,000 kilometers in 45 days. So that is happening next year.
Thank you, Doc. Quite an amazing and exciting. I'm sure a lot of people would be geared up for that trip now. Kshitij, may I have you on the stage, please? Give a small token of appreciation. Thank you. Thank you, Kshitij.